In this week's video, I'm going to talk about choosing your personal rabbi. So first of all, who is a rabbi? So it's actually discussed in Pirkei Avot. God gave the Torah to Moshe at Mount Sinai, and Moshe transmitted it to Joshua. There already we see what is a rabbi. Now Joshua was studying with Moshe. You can see from the Torah, he was always with Moshe, he was helping out Moshe, and that is what a rabbi should be. So a rabbi is someone that you learn from textually, that gives you that transmits the tradition, and he normally transmits it from the rabbi that he got it from. So Moshe got it from God, and Moshe is transmitting what he got from God to Joshua. And that's the first step. So giving over of the information. The second step is practically. Joshua saw how Moshe lived and how Moshe overcame certain obstacles and how he dealt with certain situations. Probably ate at his Shabbos table, went to him for Chagim, although that would be much later on. So that is how you learn from a rabbi. Number one, you need to discuss topics with your rabbi, set up weekly meetings with your rabbi, and you need to personally know your rabbi. So be in close proximity to him so that you can see how he lives, how he interacts, how he deals with certain situation, how does he daven, how does he learn, so that you don't just get it from a book, but you actually get it in practice as well. And that's how many jobs are also learned. You can learn surgery in a book in the university, but you can't really perform a surgery until you have done it in practice. Many of you have asked me in the comment section, why do I need a rabbi? Why can't I convert myself? This journey is between me and Hashem. So why do I need a rabbi? First of all, as you see from Pirkei Avot, the transmission is clear that God gave the Torah to Moshe, and Moshe transmitted it to Joshua. So there is an exchange of information happening. It doesn't say Joshua then learned the Torah on his own. He needed a rabbi, someone to teach him, not just the information which you get from books. I don't disagree, you get a lot of information from books, and you could know a lot of information, halachot, just from studying on your own. But there is also a lot of opinions within Judaism, and it often becomes difficult to decide which opinion to follow when there is so many opinions. Now I'm now talking minor differences, and I want to make this also clear, is that everyone agrees you should keep Shabbos. Everyone agrees you should fast on Yom Kippur. So I'm talking like minor differences, often cultural, and that makes it very difficult to make a decision. And I have seen a lot of converts, and I'm going to include myself in this basket, that picks and choose what they like. So you might be converting Ashkenazi, but you like eating rice on Pesach. So you think, okay, right, I'll take the Sephardic rice on Pesach. And on other subjects, I'll take the Ashkenazi, where the approach is more lenient. So that's also a danger within not having a rabbi. So now that you know that you need a rabbi, the next question is, how do I go about choosing my own personal rabbi? And what does that even mean? What is a personal rabbi? A personal rabbi is someone that you, number one, feel you connect with. You have a similar hashkafa, a similar way of belief, and someone that you can look up to, like a mentor. He's married, he's got children, he's religious, he studied many years in yeshiva, he believes the same way I believe, and when you are talking with him, you feel there is some sort of connection, like you get along well, you feel you can tell him everything. Now there's a very important point to note, is that when you do ask your personal rabbi halacha or opinion, and he gives you a din, he gives you a judgment, a law, you will have to follow it because you are under this rabbi. So if you don't want the answer, don't ask the question. Know that is a very important thing. You can't, once you've chosen a personal rabbi, you can't choose your personal rabbi halachic question and then he gives you an answer that you didn't really want. Then you go to another rabbi, ask him a question, that rabbi is more lenient, and then take that opinion, because then it isn't your personal rabbi. And that is what confuses a lot of Jews in general, as well as a lot of converts. Because converts, and again I put myself in that same basket, is often do like to pick and choose what they like from the various rabbis, the various opinions, as I mentioned before. So how do you go about choosing your personal rabbi now that you know what a personal rabbi is? So in my case, I started in PE in 2012. You can watch my life story for the full thing, but this is now just covering the rabbis. I met Rabbi Bloch, the first rabbi I've ever met. He's Orthodox, leans towards the Haredim. He is Haredi. And I quite liked Rabbi Bloch. I wouldn't say we had a great connection, and I like him very much. We had great chats. He actually became my discovery broker, my insurance company in South Africa, Discovery. He became my broker as a part-time job that he has other than being a rabbi. And we're still in touch. Before Chag, I will send him Chag Sameach. But I didn't feel like I want to make him my personal rabbi, because it comes from both sides. But there was no other rabbis in PE. So for that year, he was my personal rabbi. Whatever he told me to do, that's what I did. And obviously, a rabbi, generally speaking, will do what is in the Torah. If you feel that your rabbi is doing something that is not kosher, or giving you advice that you feel is against the Torah, it's best to check with another rabbi and not mention where you got that information from, and then ask a few rabbis, and if they all say no, you shouldn't listen to this guy, he's off the derech, he's not a rabbi, then you should strongly consider choosing a different rabbi. So I'm not saying be a sheep and follow everything a rabbi tells you, but if you've chosen a good rabbi and you took your time, you know this is a tzaddik, a righteous person, by the way he lives, by the way he talks, by the way he prays, by the way he learns, and then you can rely on his opinion. And obviously, if you've studied quite a bit on your own as well, you'll know when he says something that you say, okay, right, but that's not how I've learned it. And normally you will have reasons for saying something if it is controversial. Then, as I said in my life story, I went a little bit off the derech. I went to the UK where I studied on my own, and then I came back to South Africa in 2014. I then restarted my conversion process, and there I got in touch with Rabbi Sam Thurgood. He actually also has a YouTube channel that you could subscribe to if you were to choose so. He does give a little short words on the parsha, so I'll send some traffic his way. And his father actually also converted. It's not a secret, it's something he shares publicly, and that's why I feel comfortable saying it on this video. He was the head of, and he's still the head of the modern Orthodox community in Sea Point. And I felt, after my experience in PE under Rabbi Bloch, who was more Haredi, that maybe I'm more suited for modern Orthodox, thinking it will be obviously a lot more relaxed. And that was more or less the case. So Rabbi Thurgood studied 7 years in yeshiva. He did shmicha in kashrut. He is a very smart rabbi, and not just like in Torah, but he does know a lot about the secular world. I think he did a degree in psychology. He does various things. He's always learning both religiously and secular studies. He is very smart. And I don't call a lot of people very smart, but this rabbi is a very intelligent man. He's very close to my age, and I do tend to like older rabbis better. As just something, I don't know why, and maybe like a grandfather figure or a father figure maybe. So we had a very good relationship, and we learned together once a week. It was in the mornings after Shachris. We learned together for an hour, and he was basically my personal rabbi until I finished conversion and until I made Aliyah. But me and Rabbi Thurgood had many differences in Hashkafa. He is completely Dati Lumi, modern Orthodox. He is a very big Zionist. I don't think I've ever met a more passionate Zionist than Rabbi Thurgood, and he will take that as a massive compliment. And there was other things that we just didn't exactly agree on. He has a very modern approach. Obviously, the way he learns the Torah. His style is Dati Lumi. His Hashkafa is Dati Lumi. He's and I want to make it very clear from this video, because many people ask me about the divisions. No one is more Jewish than the other one. I want to put that out there. If you keep Shabbos and you keep kosher and you keep Chagim and you live a religious lifestyle, you are religious. There's minor differences in approaches to Israel. What's your belief on Israel? What's your belief on the army? Should the Haredim serve in the army? Should they not? Should you be working, or should you be studying Torah full time? What should your home look like? What should your wife wear? How should she cover her hair? That is the type of discussions that takes place. But they're all religious, and I want to just make that very clear. So me and Rabbi Thurgood never really agreed on many things, because I was leaning more to the Haredi side, and he was Dati Lumi, modern Orthodox, and he knows and I know that we don't really gel well, even though we had a great relationship. I'm still in touch with him till today. I remember before Pesach, I sent him a message, he sent me a message. I asked him a few questions about koshering my kitchen, a great rabbi, but we didn't connect on everything because our hashkafa differed. When I decided to make Aliyah, I asked Rabbi Thurgood, because he was my personal rabbi for many years. I asked him, what should I do? Is he still my rabbi? Or when I'm in Israel, should I find another one? So Rabbi Thurgood pointed out what I pointed out in the beginning of this video, is that you need a rabbi that you can learn from weekly. Now that could be done online for all intent and purposes. But you also need to see him physically. You need to be in close proximity to him. Daven in his minyan, go to his Shabbos table, and that's why an online rabbi can never really be your personal rabbi. Now, a lot of people know that I am a big fan, a massive fan of Rabbi Joseph Mizrahi, and I do follow a lot of his views and the way he looks at the world, but that's not my personal rabbi. I've only met him once, and I'll pop in a picture or two here of me and Rabbi Mizrahi. But even if you met him once, that's not your rabbi. Your rabbi is a rabbi that you learn from and that you interact with on a regular basis. I can tell you how I selected my rabbi. So I did make Aliyah, and I met a lot of rabbis in Renana where I live, all of them very knowledgeable about halakha, Jewish thought, but none of them really I connected with like I envisioned for a personal rabbi, and obviously some of the books I've studied. So there was one rabbi that I once had a very good long chat with, Rabbi Yitzchak Steinberg. That's the head of the OL Ari community in Renana. And I was there for a shiur. He was giving a shiur on Path of the Just. I davened Marif there. In a minyan, I stayed a little bit to learn. He came to me because he never seen me in his life. Asked me where I'm from, giving the whole thing. And then he asked me what I'm learning. And then I had one question as I was learning. I asked him, and he just produced books, source after source, which obviously I like. I like to see the source, not just someone telling me it exists. And we had a chat, but at that same point I was moving a little bit further away from OL Ari, to be close to the shul where I daven for Shabbos, Kilat B'nai Aaron, which is a South African Kila. And we sort of lost touch, me and Rabbi Steinberg. And then I phoned him up after, again, reviewing the Mishnah, make yourself a rabbi. And I phoned him and we spoke for a while, and I told him, look, Rabbi, I think I need to find a rabbi here, and me and you had a good connection. And that is how I chose him. So why did I pick Rabbi Steinberg and not another rabbi? So first of all, you got to ask your rabbi some questions, see how he lives before you decide that's going to be your rabbi that you look up to, that you're going to respect his din, his judgment. So Rabbi Steinberg grew up religious. He's from Yerushalayim. He's from birth. Went to yeshiva his whole life. Went to yeshiva after he finished school. He became a rabbi. He continued in the yeshiva, and then he became a community rabbi in Renana a few years ago. So he was mainly teaching and learning in yeshiva all his life. He got married, he has bli ein hara, 7 children. The oldest one is 22. So he's an older rabbi. Like I said, I do like older rabbis, like more like a father figure. And he's very knowledgeable. We are the exact same hashkafa. He's Chardal, I'm Chardal. He's also a little bit more Zionist than I am. He has very strong views about all the Jews should return to Israel. It's something I believe in, but he means achshav, right now. So we have interesting discussions about that. And it's a rabbi that I can relate to. I can be open with him. And that's why I chose this rabbi. And we are currently studying together. We had a session last night. We're doing it online because of Corona. And we're going to do that weekly going forward. So I hope this video, it was a bit longer than I wanted to make this video. But I did want to cover all the aspects because I had a lot of questions that I never answered about can I convert myself? Do I need a rabbi? What if there's no rabbi in my community? So if there's no rabbi in your community, maybe something I didn't touch on, then you got to move to a community that has a rabbi. Because also for conversion, you need that. And you need someone that can guide you through your journey in the conversion process. Or I know there's a lot of Baal Tshuvas watching my channel. So if you're coming back to the religion, you need someone that guides you, because there's a lot of opinions and it's difficult sometimes to make the correct decision on your own. There's also a lot of secular people that watch my channel, and please God, you should make tshuva and find yourself a rabbi and return to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So I hope you found this video informative. May you continue to be blessed in everything that you do. Shavua Tov.
Hashem Melech, Hashem